I've got another souvenir fabric make. It's a beautiful blouse with gorgeous little sleeve details that are super delicate. Fitting features are amazing. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I have another special make to share with the fabrics I've been buying lately. The fabric I used for this project came from Frankfurt, Germany. Beautiful shop I visited that had amazing stuff. I actually already used one of the fabrics I bought from there. I like them so much. They're kind of making it up the pile. I don't have much, but when I have a new project, I look and I was just drawn to these first for some reason. So that's how it turned out. What I've made from this fabric, which is a rayon linen blend, is a blouse. This is brand new from Sinclair Patterns and it's called Fiona Blouse. It's got a lot of options. What they all have in common though is a rounded neckline, button placket. All of this is finished with a facing on the inside, very neat. That's common to all of the versions, same as the shaping. On the front, you have that type of dart that has combined the bust dart with the waist dart. So basically when you're drafting, you close up that dart and open it up on the waist. So it's just one dart. Love that. At the back, there's also fisheye darts. But even with all of these darts and shaping going on, it's not tight. It's nice. It's not boxy at all. And there's cup size options, which is amazing. For this area, you can just do it sleeveless, just bind that armhole and call it a day. Or you can add between the binding and the armhole a little ruffle or a flounce. I've chosen a flounce because my fabric has nice drape, but it's not that drapey. So I think the feature will be nice and noticeable. For the length of it, you can choose between two cut lines on the pattern. So one's around the high mid hip, the other one's about 2 inches longer. This is not the type of top that can become a dress, like I always say, just because the shaping on the front and that particular dart. So this would actually just be a blouse, and that's absolutely fine. Because Fiona is brand new at Sinclair Patterns, it's going to be 27% off for a few days, I believe till the 2nd of March, which is about a week. I will leave you my affiliate link at the top of the comment section and in the description box if you'd like to use it. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does support the work that I do here on YouTube. It's one of the ways I make an income creating really helpful sewing content for you that you can watch without any cost really. You just watch YouTube, right? If you'd like to support me that way, I'd super appreciate it. If you ever want to know about patterns on sale, you can always head to my website, liftingpinsandneedles.com. At the top, it says patterns on sale. Click there. And whenever you're clicking, you're going to find updated information there, like the Fiona blouse and other patterns that are on sale right now, the feature Fridays, all those things. Fiona is designed for woven fabrics, light to medium weight, and it sort of depends on what option you choose. If you're choosing ruffles and flounces for the sleeve finish, I would keep it more lightish weight. But if you're doing the sleeveless, I think you can go medium weight. That would be okay. So structured or drapey, that is up to you. You know, cotton lawn, cotton poplin, shirting, chambray, sisaka, 100% linen rayon blend would be on the structured side. And if you do the flounce or ruffle, it's just going to be more poofy, but it would be easy to manipulate and to sew. And if you want the flounce or the ruffle to fall a little softer on your arms, then you would choose something with more drape like rayon, all the types of rayons, you know, rayon crepe, rayon satin, rayon twill, tencel, silk. I've chosen a rayon linen blend for mine. I can actually show you my fabric because I have a fair amount left so I can make a skirt. So lovely. This is 70% rayon, 30% linen. I bought this in Frankfurt. It's nice. It's got nice body and weight. It's not the lightest, but it's not the heaviest. But the best of it is the drape. So that's why I thought it would be appropriate. Also, it's got the lighter color on the inside so you can see what I'm sewing when I'm filming. That's always super helpful. So this is amazing. I've still got a fair amount left. I know I'm going to make a matching skirt eventually, and I'm going to have a lovely set fake dress type situation, and that is very exciting for me. Other basics are the fusible interfacing for the facing pieces and buttons. Now, I could not find any buttons. I have a bunch of mismatched black buttons on my blouse. Ignore those. I think they're going to blend in. I'm waiting for my navy buttons to arrive that I had to buy on Amazon. So buttons is what I'm mostly struggling with here. Yeah, it's hard for me to source them specifically for each project in time. Sizing is great from 0 to 30 US up to a 63-inch hip. There are cup size options. You have A, B, C, D, E, F. So that is super good. It takes you up to a difference of 6 inches between the high bust and the full bust with the largest cup size. So from 1 to 6, there's quite good coverage here for your bust cup size, which remember when you're sewing, it's different. It's the way the bust protrudes here. It's not about the cup that your bra actually has. So make sure you measure yourself. Cup sizes are amazing. They're just going to help the fit so much, especially with the darts. Height files are also super great with Sinclair Patterns. There's not many patterns that have these types of files completely separately. So petite, regular and tall, 3 to 4 inches of ease around the bust and around 4 to 5 around the hips. At the waist, it's super comfortable. I always use the tall version with Sinclair Patterns and it's always amazing. The armhole depth, sleeve lengths, leg lengths, just amazing for me. I just have to make so few adjustments. So super nice. I've chosen a size 14 US. You can see the chart. Those are my current measurements. So fitting adjustments basically for me, just one, which I know I have to make. And even though there's no side dart here, if there was, I would have to lower it. The dart that comes up here on the front, if you don't check it, it could end up hitting too high and sort of above the bust if you're not too careful. So I know the bust height on the pattern is drafted higher than what my bust height is. So I just dropped it by an inch, which is super easy, but maybe you're not used to it. So I'm going to show you that on a little paper so you can see exactly what I did, and I'm very happy. It turned out great. I've printed a mini front pattern piece so you can see the shape. So we don't have this side bust dart there. That one was closed and brought into the waist. That's why it swings out like that. But once you sew it, it's going to be fine. Now here on the pattern, you have the dots that mark the seam allowance, so that's really helpful. This neckline is really close to the neck. So my neck is basically here. So I can measure from here down up to that dot right there. That is the apex. I know that this dart is going to be too high for where my bust apex is. My bust is a little bit lower. So from here, from this cut line, I'm just going to drop it down by an inch. So that's going to be my new cut line. And all I'm going to do is just blend the lines and do this. Now this dot is the one you have to mark on your pattern because that's the tip of the dart. I'm going to drop it down as well by that same inch. So that's what I'm working with now. If I wanted to draw my seam allowance again, I would measure, and then this is my new shape. It was really easy to adjust. And now my tip of the dart right here, the pointiest bit, is 1 inch lower than the original, and it's going to be below my apex, that is not going to end up right on it. That was the only easy pattern adjustment. I find this much easier than dropping a dart like here because then you have to cut out and things. With this one, all you do is draw and then just modify this and cut it a little lower. Because this was a pattern test, I actually did make a really quick non-wearable test garment. I chose some quilting cotton that I found on a sale. I think they were like £4 a meter. So I was sure I was going to have enough. And I didn't actually finish it because I find the print is a bit too out there. All I did was sew shoulders, side seam darts, and call it a day. And I was able to confirm that the amount I lowered that bust dart was okay, and that the waist darts on the back were exactly where they had to be. So I didn't have to change anything other than lowering that dart right here on the front. Super painless. I'm going to show you my Fiona blouse, and then you can see the sewing at the end. This is it. I love how it turned out. Round neckline. Now this neckline is not high or low. It sits right below the clavicle, the collarbone. Perfect. Modest, comfortable. You can actually slip this on over your head without undoing the buttons, or at least I can. So if I never want to unbutton my blouse again, I'm absolutely fine, and I can pretend that the button placket is not there. I can just put it on. Super nice facing finish on the inside. It's very neat. I've got the flounce finish right here, which I think is really cute. The hem is small. That takes a little while longer, but it's so worth it. And then it only covers the armhole partially, as you can see. So there's a section here at the bottom that just has binding. Remember, I have a detailed video all about binding, so I don't focus on that too much when there's binding. But you'll see the end how I finished it, because this ends up like that on the inside. You have the binding seam all the way around the armhole. It's just that the flounce is coming in from between, or the ruffle if you want to sew the ruffle instead. There we have it on the inside. You can see the facing all the way down here, the darts that were raw, sort of cut with a cutout. And then the tip is right there, which my tip of the dart is a little lower. It would have been a little higher. That was my personal adjustment. The back fisheye darts, you can barely see them, the little hem. the binding all the way around the armhole with the flounce coming from there. I don't feel bad that I used another fabric for the binding because no one's going to see it. It's understitched, black cotton lawn. Who's going to know? I was not going to use my precious fabric for making bias tape. That is something that I always have here in my head. I rarely do it unless I can. I have some left over, as you saw, and I want to make a skirt, so I'm not going to compromise getting that skirt for making a little bit of bias tape. No one's going to see it, so I'm going to show it styled two ways. This is my Fiona top from Sinclair Patterns. It's brand new. I used a fabric that I love. It's got a navy blue background with some florals, lighter tones of blue and green. Love that. This is a Rayon linen blend. Got a size 14 toe file with the shortest cut line. You can make the top a little longer. One option with wider bottoms like this, brown wouldn't be the ideal pairing, but I think it's not too bad. If I had all my wardrobe, I would pair this with navy white bottoms like this. I love how it looks. It's got enough shaping that it's not boxy, but it's not tight either. And the flounce sleeve option is so cute. There are some front waist studs right here. They finish below my apex. I had to drop the dart a little bit. That's fine. At the back, there's also some waist shaping with darts, fisheye darts. But you can see there's plenty of ease. It's really comfortable. The button placket, I can use it if I want, but I can pull this on over my head and I'm absolutely fine. There is a second cut line for you to make it a little longer if you want, but I like this length. It makes it more versatile, especially with wide leg trousers like these, or if I wanted to wear a wider type of skirt, it's the same thing. Please ignore the black buttons. I'm still waiting on the matching navy ones to arrive, so I needed buttons, so they're there. Really nice neckline. It's not too high, it's not too low. I always want it below my clavicle and it's right there. It's finished with a facing, top stitched inside super neatly. Flounce sleeve, super cute. Love this. You can also do a ruffle or just not do this and make it sleeveless. But I like that it covers the upper arm here. You can even make the flounce longer if you wanted to. You just lengthen the piece. On the inside, it's finished with binding. I made mine out of a black cotton lawn, super lightweight. Black, but no one's gonna see it. I didn't really want to use any of this fabric to make the binding because I have enough left for a skirt. Neckline is super cute, very modest, very wearable, very comfortable, all very neat with facings. I love a good facing. I think it's always a success. Block fusing them, of course, and then top stitching them down. They lie flat and they're very comfortable. I don't even feel them. Love the height options, and the cup size options makes huge difference with the feet. I've got a CD cup and I'm really happy with everything here. This feet super smooth, there's no drag lines. It's got enough space to be super comfortable, not boxy, and I can't wait to have a matching skirt. It'll be like a fake dress. I know I'm gonna love it so much. Of course, the blue denim is going to go very nicely with this print and the navy background. This is the obvious choice. I would also love to pair this with a denim skirt. I'm mostly interested in you seeing the fit, and I love it. It's just so dainty and so delicate, so lovely. I'm always going to remember my souvenir because I bought the fabric in Frankfurt and it was so lovely there. So this is my me-made Frankfurt souvenir from fabric. This is when I wish I had all my beautiful sandals and skirts and things because, you know, this could have looked so much cuter. But that's just me having fun. The essence is that you see how the fit is. That's the goal. I hope you were able to see that. I'm happy with the fit. Now, let's see the sewing, 5/8 seam allowance. Lots of interesting things to see here with the darts. So yeah, let's see how this one came together. Here are the pieces for the Fiona Blouse from Sinclair Patterns. Now, I usually say that a top can be a dress, but in this case, no. Because here we have combined the waist dart with the bust dart, so it's a big dart over here. If you wanted to extend this, it would just completely deform. So this is just a blouse. There's two length options here. I'm sewing the CD cup size option and the back is on the fold. There are also waist darts over here. Nice amount of ease. It's just got nice shaping, so it's not going to be boxy at all. The way you finish the neckline is with facings. This facing goes along the center front right here, and this is the front facing that we're going to sew there together. So it's going to form that one piece.
the back facing. And I'm doing a flounce sleeve. You can also do a ruffle sleeve, or you can finish the armhole by itself and then it's just sleeveless. That's done with bias tape. I still have to make it, so it's not here on the table. Let's get some stay stitching done within the seam allowance, just close to the edge. I'm going from the shoulder into the center for the front pieces, and for the back from the shoulder into the center, and then flipping the fabric. Because this is designed sleeveless, even if you're adding the flounce or the ruffle, it's good practice to stay stitch the armholes as well. There's no regular sleeve coming in here, so you definitely don't want these stretching out. From the shoulder down towards the side area. This is the front dart. You can see it's partially raw right there because this bulk has already been trimmed off. So that's good. So this is where we sew the seam allowance, which is 5/8. And up here, there's a dot, which is the tip of the dart. And the shape of the dart is actually on the pattern. I have it drawn here with my friction pen. So it's sort of rounded there. It's good that it's rounded because it means it's being shaped, roundness of the bust that comes here. So it's really small and then it goes a little larger right there. Important to keep the shape so it looks nice. I always like starting from the tip because I can really control where the needle falls. I do it manually. Once it's really on the edge of the fabric, I let go and I start and I no back tucking. So with these threads, I just knot them and then you get the neatest little tip. The idea is that darts blend in and just help you with the shape, but they're not supposed to be something noticeable. So from this side, you can barely see that it's there. There's 2 of these, and then at the back, we have fisheye darts. These fisheye darts are nice because they have a rounded shape as well, very anatomical. So I really like that. And with this one, I'm not back tucking anywhere because it starts on a tip and it ends on a tip. I've also got it marked with my friction pen. Okay, here is the front dart. From where the fold ended and the raw edge started, I serged that. So that's done. I also serge the bottom, the sides, the shoulders, everything that needs to be serged. I've done it because I want to press my seams open. So next I'm going to sew these shoulder seams right here. Seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch. So those are 2 quick seams. These are the facings. I've aligned them at the shoulder seams as well. Make sure you don't confuse the front facing and put it the other way around. It's clearly marked and this part is completely straight along the grain. So make sure you're placing them correctly. And this is also 5/8 seam allowance. After doing this, I'm going to go and serge the edges of these facings as well as the edge of the long facing that goes along the center front. I'm going to show you how to put the facings together. So this is what's going to go down the center. I've got them mirrored. In the inner edges, that's the area that I serged. This one here is raw. So look at this, serged, right? So now I'm going to take my other facing unit that I've just done. I've sewn shoulder seams, I've serged the edges. So I'm going to take this like that. The one that's on my right hand, I'm going to align it over here against that edge that's serged. And that's what I'm going to sew together. And then the other side is going to go on the other side. So what I'm going to do is just take this raw edge, put it right sides together over here and pin it. And that's what we're going to sew. So we're basically going to end up with this shape like this. And that's the shape of our neckline right here and right there. Okay, here we have it. I've got my blouse extended, shoulder seams sewn, the side seams are still free, and I've got my facing right on top. That is the little seam that united everything. This could have been one piece right here, but then it's harder to cut, takes up more fabric. So I'm not against that. It's absolutely fine. I have hand basted everything. And so we're going to sew all of these with 5/8. It'll be continuous. And it even includes the bottom right here. So we're sewing this and then up, pivot, around, pivot, down, pivot, and then that way. Because that's going to finish the center front as well. This is too much seam allowance, so I'm just going to cut it in half all the way around. I don't particularly enjoy sewing big seam allowances, but I'm not going to change a pattern to sew a smaller seam allowance. I'll just do it. But I much prefer a 3/8 seam allowance for rounded areas and necklines and such. You can see I don't actually pivot. I finish the seam and then I start again. I just find it easier to fold later and get a crisp little result there. The front is all rounded, so I'm going to snip, same as the back. The only area I'm not snipping is down the center front because that's completely straight. I'm going to fold these onto each other right here towards the facing and flip, and you get a really nice crisp little point there, same as at the bottom. I love that finish at the bottom. The hem comes from behind it, really nice. Just around the rounded part of the neckline, I'm going to understitch, but not through to the point. I can't get that far. So from where I can, it's comfortable. I'm going to push the seam allowance underneath the facing and sew on the edge there. I'm going to do it from this side actually. I've got the facing touching my right hand right here and the seam allowance under it. After this, I'm going to tidy up this facing, press it, hand baste it, and then top stitch everything in place. This is one of the flounces that I'm going to put on the sleeve. So it's like a little circle. This is what's going to go on the armhole, but only partially. You can see I have already folded in a little bit. I've done that with hand basting and I've already pressed it. And now I'm just going to repeat the whole thing again. It's just basically folding it in again, tiny, and hand basting it. I wouldn't want to just wing this and fold it as I go while I sew. I think that turns out pretty messy. I have tried to do that years ago. So I'm just going to take my time and just fold it again and just hand baste it again. Afterwards, I'm going to take out all this thread. Don't worry, it won't stay here. But it's the only way I find that this can turn out neat. So I'm just going to keep going and then I'm going to stitch on the edge and finish this little hem. This is a completed armhole there, and I've just placed the flounce right sides together with it. So right at the middle of the flounce, I made a little mark that I matched with the shoulder seams, and then I just started pinning around the raw edge. There is a little mark on the pattern where the flounce should finish on the front and the back. It's pretty symmetrical. So once it's there, then the armhole sort of can act as one piece, and to make it easier, I'm just going to baste that right on the edge just to keep it in place. Then I can sort of ignore this flounce, just ignore it and do the binding as you would a sleeveless armhole normal. That's going to finish it on the inside, and then the flounce would flounce over and look really pretty. Remember, I have a whole video on the channel showing you how to do bias tape that's hidden on the inside in all detail. There's nothing different I would do with that.
If you're loving the sewing content, don't step out without tapping on that like button, because it's the best way to let YouTube know that this is good content. Hopefully other people that like to sew can find what I do over here easier. I can't wait to make the matching skirt. I think it's going to look adorable. Someday when I'm back in Brazil, I'm going to have the matching set and I can't wait. Don't forget to check out this blouse. I think it's amazing. You're going to really enjoy sewing it. 27% off through the 2nd of March. I'm going to leave you now, and don't miss out on the next episode coming soon. I'll see you again then. Bye.